Hello and good evening. Welcome back to IIRL Twitch channel. Hope you're all well. Back with you again for another week of streams on the channel. My name is Sungle26 in case you don't know. Apologies, Dayman, I was just having a wee before the stream started. I hope you guys are doing really well. Brand new week of streams, and can you believe it, we're already a month into our new season. Round 5 this week here at the beautiful Paul Ricard circuit in France. Flu is going to take us on a track tour of his home track. He is our resident Frenchman, as we always say, and he is featured driver for DRS at all. That's out if he's up, but only in dry conditions. Turn 7, easy turn, but in that. Now, ordinarily you would have DRS down this main straight, the back straight towards this lovely chicane. You can take some curb, so feel free to help yourself throughout the week. That is turns 8 and 9, and long straight. In fact, that chicane in the middle of those two straights was one big straight before it was reconvened for F1 purposes. Turn 10 is flat in the dry, possibly in the wet, depends on how gutsy you are on the accelerator. A very long turn 11, easy to go wide, to make a mistake, especially with no assist, easy to lock up to. Through turn 12, another swooping teen, as Tucker heading in spot though, if you get close enough through 13 and 14, and there is conditions, obviously. So that is your track, and hello to you, Magic. Hope you're well. Also, good evening, Chives and Dayman and Padge. Oops, or should I say poops? So 16, we are expecting. Oh, Kemmets has joined. I was told Kemmets would be late. Well, late he is not. He is here. So 16 of us in quali, which means Ghost goes for a bit of a spin there through turn 2. Lucky the track limits are very openly spaced on this track. A very popular track for no rules racing. You see people cutting corners and flying all over the place. Ghost is a lucky boy, shall we say. Greg has invalidated possibly at the end of his outlap. Wet conditions are quite common here, I'd say, on this game in France, and, well, again, there's no really tight barriers, so you might get away with running a bit wide and having a few moments here and there, but the person who wins is obviously going to be the person who is consistently tackling these conditions and coming out on top. Again, if you're a racer in this lobby and you're in the chat right now, let us know what the weather's doing for the race. Chive says, love a moist race, but obviously we don't know anything more than that. Very challenging conditions. In fact, DRS is now enabled, so that might be why half the drivers haven't gone out of the, well, I say half, 4 haven't set a lap yet. Of course, Tuesday night is no assists night. Absolutely no assists. These drivers are running. No anti-lock brakes, no traction control, no racing line, no assists whatsoever. The hardest form of sim racing there is. Time and time again, as that guy accidentally takes out a DRS board, but it's alright. Time and time again, we often see that this tier holds some brilliant racing. No really incidents sent into the stewards recently in the last few races, so they must be doing something right here. Round 5 of 13, of course. We've done 4 races of our 13 race season, which should lead us up to the release of the new game around the summertime. We don't know exactly when the new game is going to drop, but we do know it's around June or July normally. So our season will take us up to around about mid-June, where the drivers can get a chance to get the new game, a few weeks to get settled in, get their time trial times sorted, put them into the right tiers, and yeah, in a few months' time you'll see a few streams drop in on this channel. But for now, we are in the heart of the new season. Really enjoying it. We've had some great battles on track. Thank you for the follow, Alice to G43. Appreciate that, man. Hope you're well. Hope you're enjoying the action. And some drivers starting now to come onto the track on slicks. So we'll keep that tyre graphic on your screen. These are the tyres that they currently have on the car. So Deton is the first, along with Lil Semp, who is just ahead of him on track, to tackle these conditions in the soft tyres. So interesting to see what kind of lap times they can set early on. We don't know if the rain's coming back, of course, at this moment in time. Oh, and still quite slippery out there, Deton. Just finding the limit of the car. Deaton doesn't want to get disqualified for blocking another driver, so that's something to look out for. Lilsant, meanwhile, is keeping it on straight and narrow, keeping it on the track. As for how fast, well, we are expecting this to go fastest, but expect to see a frantic 7 minutes of action now. 16 drivers, only 3 of them out on track. Prev is the car in front of Semp here, but he is still on intermediate tyres. Semp does go fastest, but we are expecting a lot of drivers, all 16 of them of course, to go out on the soft tyres and see how fast they can go. Lilsant here could go for 2 runs. We got Deaton, another yellow flag in Sector 3, so struggling at the moment on these tyres in these conditions. Track is still improving. This might be a case of who can get out at the last possible minute and get the best track conditions possible. So our eyes are going to be fixed to the left-hand side of your screen. Six minutes left of the session, only one dropping out in Q1 due to 16 runners. So it's not as pressure as a normal full grid Q1. Only one is going to drop out. If someone crashes out, of course, that could provide a great opportunity for someone to jump up into Q2 without having to really push too much. Does look like the track is improving. No rain at all. No standing water that we can see. But no real racing line. Got a little bit of there in the final corner, so the grip is starting to come to the dry. Second now can get a nice clean lap. We got a handful of drivers on out laps, 6 of them in total, plus the 2 on flying laps, so still 8 drivers in the pits. We are expecting them to come out very shortly. Could just be who gets a good 1 lap shootout in the bag. It could turn into a one-shot quali here very shortly for the likes of Chives, Flew, Kemments, as Deaton goes second fastest. For Wiggles and Ross, Kemments and Prev, Chives all in the pits right now with 4 minutes left. It could just be a one-shot quali for them. Gone ball with Dayman in the Mercedes. Red Bull in front of him getting nicely out of the way. Greg's on a lap, Tucker's on a lap. Also that guy, his best time was set on Inters, so expect that starting lanes are going to be a hell of a lot busy in the next 3 and a bit minutes. Dayman just invalidating there through the very long turn. At the moment, you can't afford to do that for too long. Need to get a good lap time on the board. Greg goes third fastest, a 1:32.2 for him. Ferrari coming around the final corner. That's going to be Ghost. What can Ghost do? And there's an Alfa Romeo, of course, you can see in the foreground. Ghost, that's invalidated from him. And Flew as well, also invalidating. Dayman goes third fastest, 1:31.5, as Mr. Wiggles goes fastest overall on a 1:30.1. Nice lap from him. Tucker coming around the final corner. His best lap was on softs, but can probably go faster than that. We'll see what he does. In fact, he comes into the pits. Does Tucker? Tucker's doing something. Not sure what he's doing there, but he's probably going for one more run. Sun's starting to shine in France as Ryan goes third fastest, a 1:30.6. Ross goes fourth fastest on a 30.7. We've got Padge in the Williams coming around the final corner now. Who else is setting lap times? Kemmets goes 5th fastest, 1 minute 31.3. And here comes Padge. Not a bad lap at all. 1:31.4 for him. He goes 6th fastest right now. That guy improves, by the way, to a 1 minute 30.4. Goes up into 2nd place. These times starting to tumble now into the 1 minute 30s, which should be pretty safe. Greg is on a slow lap. I think running out of fuel, so that might be the best that Greg can manage in this session, as Ghost goes fastest overall by just under half a tenth. Tucker is off the track, getting out of the way of someone. Chives definitely needs to improve, as does Tidiest Bear. Their best lap times are on intermediates, so the pressure's on them to get their lap hooked up and quick enough to get into Q2. But what can they manage? Checkered flag has fallen. 5 have finished. Deton perhaps is in the most trouble right now, but Tucker, the pressure is on for him as well. Chives goes 3rd fastest and makes it through to Q2. Tidiest Bear has invalidated his lap time, and that means that Tidiest Bear is going to be out. Tucker has also invalidated, but he is safe due to Tidiest Bear not being able to set a quick, valid lap time. So we already know who's going out of this session, but is anyone going to improve and show us what they're made of? Padge is on, I think, a slow lap. No DRS for him. No ERS, sorry, for him. Flew, our featured driver. We'll tell you a little bit about him in a minute. Coming around the very long turn 9. Beautiful corner. You can go side by side through there. We have seen some great moves in the past on this channel through that corner, so watch out. That could be an action point in the race. Who else is improving? Flews into the pits. He knows he's safe. Prev's going slowly, so no improvement for him. That guy will come round to complete a lap and finish off this session. Very tricky session. In the end, Tidiest Bear had 3 attempts on soft tyres, as that guy goes 3 tenths faster and puts himself within a shot perhaps of pole position. Chives also going quite a nice lap there, within a tenth of the fastest lap time in Q1. Well, that was exciting. Unfortunately, Tidiest Bear dropping out in 16th place. As for the other 15, well, they'll go through to Q2, where strategy is important. So you have it, top 4 looking pretty close right now, but track conditions not ideal, so it could be a toss-up. We could see the same top 4 in Q2 and Q3, or we could see a different variety and mix of drivers at the top battling for pole position. But unfortunately for Tidiest Bear, he will start 16th on the grid, unable to get a clean lap on those soft tyres. Otherwise, perhaps it might have been Tucker. Thank you for the follow, TFS Gasly 88. Appreciate that, man. I hope you're well. I hope you're enjoying the stream. Very good Q1. I'm sure Q2 is going to be exciting for a different reason, and that is strategy based. And as Q2 starts, strategy takes centre stage. Already Mr. Wiggles equipping the medium compound tyres. In case you're unaware, for those that get through from Q2 to Q3, so the top 10 at the end of this session, whatever tyres, set of tyres they use to get through, they have to start the race on that same compound of tyres. That same exact set they use to get from Q2 to Q3, that is the set they'll have to start the race on. Which means, really, you don't want to waste your tyres too much in this session, especially for those mediums, because you only get one set in quali. Mr. Wiggles first out on track. Sun shining now, which means track conditions are going to improve. It's going to be a bit more grip on the track, meaning the times very much could plummet in this session from what we saw a few moments ago. Tucker's out on track 2. You can see a lot of people now equipping those medium yellow marked tyres. But only 2 drivers out on track right now. Make that 3. One of the Alfa Romeos of Flu coming out of track now. And also, I think that's Ryan. Yep, Ryan out on track 2. Another car coming out of the pits as we speak. So drivers starting to filter out on track, taking a couple of minutes to really decide what they want to do before they head out on track. But Mr. Wiggles knows what he wants to do. Mr. Wiggles heads around the final corner to start the first flying lap in the second part of qualifying. You can see another car coming out of the pits right now. Mr. Wiggles third in the championship right now. Ross leads with 84 points. He has a 23-point lead over Ryan. Mr. Wiggles a further 17 points behind, so Ross is on 84, Mr. Wiggles 44, sorry. But still, 9 races to go, so plenty to play for here. If Ross wins again tonight, which he has in 2 of our first 4 races this season, then you might think he's starting to run away with it. Ryan is touching base. Ross with 4 podiums from 4 races, 2 wins and 2 third places. Ryan with 3 podiums, all second place finishes, and a 7th place 2 weeks ago in Portugal. Everyone apart from 2 equipping the medium tyres, but not everyone is out on track right now. That can all change. 8 are still in the pits, which means 7 out on track. Mr. Wiggles comes across the line to set a 1 minute 31.5, which some people were doing on soft tyres last session, but the track conditions are significantly better right now. Taking out a nice little yellow bollard through turn 1 to add insult to injury. Tucker, second place right now, using the soft compound tyres. Ryan, one to watch out for tonight. Second in the championship. Looking to close that gap and get his first race win of the season. Nice line through 14 there as Flu goes fastest on the softs. Here comes Ryan, and it's second fastest. It's fastest of the mediums right now. Just under 1/10 quicker than Wiggles. More yellow bollards flying off the track as people trying to extend the track limits to what they can get away with without the game invalidating their lap time. Kemmons goes 4th fastest on the mediums too. Only a couple of tenths away from Ryan. A little bit wide there from Greg, but got away without the invalidation. Wiggles improves his time and his place. 1:31.4 for Wiggles, and that small gain of a tenth of a second could mean the difference between getting through to Q3 on those mediums or not. So every tenth is important, especially when you've got those yellow tyres on. Greg goes 5th fastest, 1:33.1 for him. As it stands, that guy coming round the long turn 9 now. Wide line through 14. Might set you up a bit badly for 15, but it means you can carry that extra speed through the penultimate corner. Let's wait and see if it pays off. That guy goes fastest. So it clearly works. 31.2 for that guy. Nice benchmark as well. Deton, he's disengaged his ERS. So this lap isn't going to be amazing from Deton. He'll go again, I imagine. That guy fastest right now. What about his teammate Prev? What can he do? That guy won on track. To his teammate who finished second, 1 second behind after time penalties were calculated, but that penalty from that guy that he got after the race, Prev took the win from his teammate. Prev can only manage 6th fastest right now, 32.1, still 9/10 away from his teammate. Lil Semp, this one's invalid from him, but he'll go again. Just starting a new run. Deton still recovering from that slow lap. Chives, meanwhile, is very quick in quali. So one to watch out for sure. See what he can manage. Nice line there. Keeps it in bounds. Very easy to run wide there. Chives taking a lot of curb there through the chicane. Saw the car bouncing around. Took way more curb than maybe he wanted to. More curb in this lap than a dinner for two in the fanciest restaurant in the heart of France. Wiggles setting a 3rd and 4th lap on those mediums, but he is getting faster. It's going to hurt him as he starts the race on a bit more worn mediums, but that 31.0 from him might be good enough to get him through to the 3rd and final part of qualifying. Chives, meanwhile, goes even faster than that, and then Ghost, before we have a chance to finish our sentence, makes everyone look slow there. 30.7 for Ghost. Nice lap there from the Ferrari driver. I seem to have a bit of a problem with my chat. I don't know if that's because no one's typing. If no one's typing, then that's fine. But if you are typing and I'm not reading your comments, I can't see them. So I do apologise for that. But if you're not typing, then don't worry about it. Padge and Dayman, 2 yet to set a lap time. Dayman, that's a slow one from him, but he'll go again. Oh, and Padge through the first couple of corners there. Just losing the back end. We saw Ghost do that in Q1. Turn 2 has claimed another victim this evening. But still, plenty of time for Padge to get a lap time on the board. Lil Semp is running out of energy. Low on the ERS front. Slow sector 2. I wonder if he's had a bit of a spin in sector 1 and is just racing to get back to the pits as quickly as possible. Ross, meanwhile, currently 7th fastest. Almost a second away from provisional pole. And he's staying out on the mediums, so he thinks he can go a lot faster than that. Thinks that he could possibly challenge for the top few places without using a set of soft tyres. A lot of people now into the pits, so we'll go on board with Ross as he goes around this beautiful French track. Very smooth, 1/10 up in sector 1, just runs off track but doesn't get invalidated. perhaps very fortunate. Sector 2 split is on this next straight, halfway down. Just here, and he's 2/10 to the good. Might jump him ahead of Ryan and Flew at this point, but he'll want more than that. Our championship leader, Tucker, has retired from the session in the pits, so 12th is the best he can manage. And that means Tucker will not be going through to Q3. Mr. Wiggles has put all his eggs in one basket and has retired from the session already. So has Kemmons, which means that he might be looking over his shoulder perhaps at some of the drivers behind. Flew is also ducked out. It's a 4/10 improvement for Ross and sets identical lap time to that guy in P4. But Ross will stay in P5 because that guy set it first. Ghost Tamino has retired from the session now, so he thinks he's comfortable. Kemmons, Wiggles, Flew all think they're comfortable. Mr. Wiggles refused to start on softs. Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Handful of drivers now starting to set soft tyres on their car. Dayman goes 10th fastest and pushes Prev into the drop zone, a 32.0 for Dayman. But Prev is on soft tyres and going faster by 8/10 through the second part of the lap, so that's going to put him into a low to mid 31. Probably drop into the 30s here if he has a good last sector, which will definitely see him through. Chives has also retired from the session. Greg has retired in 12th, so he won't be able to make it through. So really, it's just Pajestic, Deton and Prev who are in the drop zone. But Prev is going quicker and goes second fastest. That'll get him through to Q3, no bother at all. Pushing Dayman back into the drop zone. Padge is using the mediums, so is not risking the softs, but he is risking potentially his place in Q3 if he can't get a quick enough lap time. Benchmark to beat right now is a 1:31.9 set by Little Semp, or Lil Semp as I should say. Deton's on a lap, Dayman might be on a lap as well. Prev has just set that lap time, so he's probably on an in lap right now. Ryan and Semp both out on track. That guy in Ross is still in the pits and will not be able to improve their time. Nothing to separate that guy and Ross here tonight in Q2. Padge a little bit wide there, has backed off and will probably go again. In fact, no, he's into the pits. So Padge will be starting 15th on the grid. Deton with soft tyres. Can't make it through, 12th place for him, but still has one more run if he wants it. Dayman is in the pits, so he will start 11th on the grid. Padge will start 15th, so really the only person at threat here is Deton. Of course, Lil Semp, well, he's invalidated his time, so no improvement for Semp. And Deton doesn't look like he's on a lap either. So this is all she wrote. I think Ryan's invalidated, but it won't matter too much. He's through. So Padge will be 15th, Tucker 14th, Greg 13th, Deton in P12. Dayman missing out on Q3 by just over 1/10 of a second. But for Ghost, Prev, Chives, Wiggles, that guy, Ross, Flew, Ryan, Kemmons and Lil Semp, Q3 awaits those 10. And of course the tyres they use to get through to Q3, they'll have to start the race on that same set. So for Wiggles and Ross, they'll have to start the race on 4-lap old medium tyres. Prev and Flu will be starting the race on the soft compound tyres, which will give them an edge off the line, but will not last very long in the start of the race. Oh, Majestic, I feel for you. This isn't one of his best, his favourite tracks, shall we say. So Majestic is definitely happy that he doesn't have to drive for a bit. Soft don't last at all. Mediums are slippy enough though in quali. So for anyone watching who races in this league later in the week, that is good info to have. Thank you for the follow, Clarky D44. Appreciate that, man. Three follows on the stream today. Appreciate all of the support. 361 now on the follow account. In what, 5 or 6 months? Incredible. Thank you for all the followers, supports, views. Whether you get involved in the chat or whether you don't, we appreciate you. And those are your top 10. That is the tyres they're going to be starting the race. Dayman, Deaton, Greg, Tucker, Padge, all dropping out of Q2 with a free tyre choice. Don't forget. And it's only fitting we are in France for the French Grand Prix, and Flu, our resident Frenchman, is our featured driver for this evening. In case you don't know what featured driver is, we do a little thing here at IIRL called featured driver. Allows you, the viewer, to get to know the drivers a bit better instead of just having a gamer tag on a screen. So Flu, as we said, he is from France. He's from... I'm going to pronounce the name of the town or city where he's from, but I don't know if it's right. Alsace. But yeah, if you know what I mean, that's where he's from. He's 30 years of age, using a TSXW wheel, TCL pedals, TM open wheel. His favourite driver is, of course, Pierre Gasly. And his favourite track is Manguicourt. Now, this is a very great track. It's an old French track. Used to race when I think Fernando Alonso was in the Renault. They were at the Manguicourt in the early noughties and late 90s. Great track. Had one of the longest straights on the calendar. Brilliant track. Wish so much we were back there, but Portugal is a great track as well. Anyways, as for his season aspirations, he wants to be around the top 3. Happy with the top 3 is what he said. He races just in the no assist tier, so Tuesday night is the only time you can see Flu race, and he is a great racer at that. When asked on his strengths, he says he's good at race pace, not crashing, not getting penalties, and his strategy. So watch out for that during the race. Depending on where he qualifies, he may use some of that lack of penalties and strategy to get him further up the field. He's currently 5th in the championship on 27 points. He's engaged in a very close battle. That guy behind is on 26 points. Kement's on 22 behind, so some very good performances from Flu this season. 3 points, in fact 4 points finishes from 4 races. So you can't ask for much better than that. Alsace, is that how you pronounce the town? All drivers out on track right now. Chives, the first one to set a flying lap in this session. Oh, there we go, Dayman. Didn't know you were fluent in French or knowledgeable in French, but there we go. You You learn something new every day. So Chives coming round the very long turn 9 at the bottom right hand side of your track map. He's going to be the first one to set a lap time. Ryan is getting perhaps a bit of a slipstream here from an Aston Martin ahead, but I think he's on a lap. So Prev might be helping out Ryan right now, but in the corners might be giving him a bit of distractions perhaps. Chives coming around the final corner now to set the first lap of Q3, and it's a 29.8, and it's the fastest we've seen so far. 1 second quicker than what Ghost managed in Q2. Of course, with the changeable conditions in Q1, these are the fastest laps we have seen tonight. Here comes Ryan. It's a 30.6, so not quite challenging for pole on that lap. Flew goes third on a 31.2 on his home track. Across the line goes Kemments. That one was invalid for him, but he'll go again. Not fluent, but you like to be. Ross lost it at turn 2. Thank you for being the eyes in the skies there, Damon. Appreciate that. Ross was the last out to start a flying run, as Mr. Wiggles goes second fastest, 4 tenths away from provisional pole. About Ghost, he's been quick in Q2. Can he make it onto the front row of the grid? It's a 29.7. He goes provisional pole. Nice lap there, as we said. Ross is off at turn 2 and an invalid lap. Probably just getting out of the way of people. Kemments is on another lap as well. He invalidated his first. Round the final corner comes that guy, but that one is invalid. Chives into the pits. So next one on track is going to be Prev through sector 3. 7 minutes left of the session. Still everything to play for. Plenty of time to go in and out of the pits and get a new set of tyres on those cars. What can Prev manage? It's a 30.7, just behind Ryan there. Kemments to the line. What can he manage? It's a 30.8 and puts him 6th place. Mr. Wiggles coming across the line and improves by a 10th, has shaved his time down to a 30.1, but still not quite in the 29s, which is what you're going to need to get on the front row of the grid as it stands. Here comes Ghost round the final corner. Can he extend his grip on pole position? No, he can't. That one might have been invalid, or may have just been a little bit slower. Here comes Lil Semp, first flying lap of this session, and he slots in behind Kemments. Here comes that guy, first valid run for him this session, and he goes 4th on a 30.3. What about Ross? He's on a quick lap now. That first run is gone out of his memory. Taking a beautiful wide line there through 11. And just running wide at the exit. So Ross with 2 invalid lap times to his name in this session. And driving into the pits for a new set of rubber. So round 1 goes to Ghost, who is going to come out on top in the next part of this Q3 showdown. Wiggles is coming into the pits at the end of this lap. That guy has had a slow sector 1, so he's not on the lap. Kemments has invalidated. Lil Semp perhaps could be on another push lap, trying desperately to get ahead of Kemments, who is only a couple of hundredths of a second ahead. It does feel rather gutting when you miss out on a place in quali just by a couple of hundredths or maybe even thousandths of a second. Lil Semp just missing the apex of the final corner may have cost him maybe a 10th or 2 across the line, and he does improve. He goes to 7th fastest. Nice lap there from Lil Semp, making it 2 Hasses in the top 7, 2 Aston Martins in the top 6. Of course, 2 Alfa Romeos in this session as well, so plenty of team decisions. Flew Prev back out on track. 3 minutes 42 left in Q3. Currently, just the 2 drivers are into the 1 minute 29s. Generally speaking, I'd say in this division they are the best qualifiers, Ghost and Chives. They have a great amount of qualifying pace. Would be very hard to beat in qualifying. Right now they are proving their worth, proving their mettle. But can they keep hold of it? They've got 8 drivers behind, especially Ross, who is back out onto the track. Flew through sector 1, was 3 tenths up. Through sector 2, he is 4 tenths up. That's going to put him around Kemments in 8th place right now. Needs a mighty last sector, even just a couple of tenths in this last sector, and he could jump up to 5th place. That's how close it is in that midfield. It's close at the top. Ghost and Chives not separated by much. Mr. Wiggles, there could be some time in him as well, and that guy Ryan leads that midfield pack of 4 drivers, all within a couple of tenths of each other. Flew could join that group in the next few minutes, next few moments. Across the line, and it's a 30.7, 4 milliseconds ahead of Lil Semp. Slots into P7 rather nicely there. So Prev looking to get out of that midfield pack, maybe challenge for provisional pole, or at least a couple of second row of the grid. He's currently on the 3rd row of the grid. Small improvement in sector 1. Sector 2, he's 2 tenths to the good. So far so good for Prev. 2 strong races, the last 2 races. One in Portugal, as we said, on penalties. Finished 5th last week in Spain, picking up a handy 10 points. Where can he put his Aston Martin car on the grid? His teammate is 4 tenths, or 3 and a bit tenths ahead of him. And Prev goes ahead of his teammate up into 4th and onto the 2nd row at the grid at the expense of his teammate. Lil Semper's lagged out in the pits, so that's going to be all she wrote for Lil Semp. 8th is the best that he can manage in this session. Here comes Ross now, round the final corner. This will be his first valid lap time of Q3, as another lap if he wants it afterwards, but it's a 30.4, and our championship leader is down in P6 right now. That is not where he wanted to be. Mr. Wiggles invalid, but has another lap at his disposal. 10 seconds left of the session, which means no one's going to go through for a brand new run. This is it, now or never. Flew is in the pits, and in 8th place he will start on the grid. That is unless Kemments can't beat their times. Ryan finishes in P5 and splits the 2 Aston Martins. Ghost is a 10.5 up in sector 2, which means he could be on for another pole position in IIRL. Kemments finishes his session in 10th, and that guy improves. He is not in 4th anymore, he is in 3rd. He is in 1 minute 30.0, just missing out on the 29s, as Ghost is really pushing hard now. These track limits don't mean much to him. Round the final couple of corners now. Chives also on a lap. Could be one to watch out for as well. We'll go on board with Chives in a moment. Oh, just getting a bit of oversteer out the final corner, and that could have ruined his progress. Across the line he comes, and it's a just lost a bit of time there in the final corner, and Ghost can't improve his momentum, which means Chives, this could be the best opportunity for pole that he was asking for, pushing the limits of that track through that right-hander just there. Round the final couple of corners, nice and tight through 14, through 15, nice line as well. Ross has retired from the session, he'll start 7th on the grid, Prev will finish 5th. And here comes Chives, can he get pole? Yes he can, by quite a margin, look at that. 3.5, well, 2.5 tenths. Chives nicks it on the line with a fabulous lap. Ghost, well, that final corner just got a bit of oversteer out of it, but probably would have been close to Chives' lap time. In the end, Chives with the pole. Chives with the pole and an instant boner, as he said in the chat. Thank you for that. And for Chives, that is his second pole position in IRL. So congratulations, Chives. Ghost, quarter of a second behind, but, well, he might have something to say about potentially getting pole position tonight. Bit of a mistake through the final corner. That guy and Wiggles very close. The pair of them, they're on the second row of the grid. Prev and Ryan, 5th and 6th, they're pretty close as well. Ross, Flew, Semp, Kemments round out the top 10. I have to say Ross perhaps slightly out of position, but invalidated his first 2 lap times, and that's sometimes how it goes. Sometimes it's not about getting the perfect lap, sometimes it's about getting a banker lap in the bag and then building on that, giving you more and more confidence the more you drive. But it's happened to the best of us, and it's happened to the worst of us. A few minutes now for the drivers to prepare themselves for the race, stretch their legs if they're on the wheel, grab a drink, grab a snack, light a joint, who knows, whatever they want to do to prepare them for the race. Two points for Ross here tonight will bring his total to over 800 in a season and 5 races. Ross, incredible 53 races so far in IRL, has only DNF 6 times and has finished in the points 45 times. Ross is Mr. Consistent, and one more podium will bring him to 30 podiums in this league. Ryan second in the championship right now. Joined the season midway through last season, but has done 13 races, 10 of them in the points. 143 points to his name. That's over a 10-point average per race. I have to say that's very impressive. That's an average finish of 5th or higher. But still missing that elusive pole position is Ryan, so something perhaps to work on for the future. But 2 race wins, 6 podiums to his name in 13 races. Not a bad outcome, not a bad result. Can anyone challenge Chives for the race win? Chives, no race win yet in his IIRL repertoire. Five drivers on the grid who have finished in the points in every race this season in the no assist division. Ross, of course, our championship leader. Ryan in second. Wiggles in third. Flew is in 5th place, our featured driver tonight. He's finished in every one of the 4 races so far, and also Dayman in the Mercedes, although he has picked up a small amount of points, only 12 points from 4 races. He's finished in the points every single race so far. Definitely commendable. 2 9th places and 2 8th places for Dayman. You won't win anything soon. Why not? Why not? Don't limit yourself, man. Strive to be the best version of you can. We are going to get away very shortly, 30 seconds, as you can see on the timer on your screen. Let's get your predictions in chat nice and early. Who's getting on the podium? No worries, man. Towards the end of the season, it went down well last season, so we're going to do it again this season. We have an award stream. Certain awards given. One of them is amount of consecutive points place finishes. With it only being a 13 race season, it might be slightly easier to get that 13 race streak that everyone's aiming for. But of course, you need to get consistency, make sure you don't crash. And very much business as usual in terms of the tyres. Of course, we all know top 10 have to start on the same set of tyres they went from Q2 to Q3 on. So for Prev and Flew, they are on the soft compound tyres, which will run out and wear down a lot quicker than those mediums, but they might get a good traction off the line, and they may have a chance of getting a cheeky overtake or two into the first corner. It's not a very long run down to turn 1, so it has to be a good start here if you want to avoid losing places. A bad start could send you a few places down the fields. Greg, the only one on the hard compound tyres. Chives and Ghost on the front row. Row 2 is that guy, Mr. Wiggles. Prev and Ryan occupy row 3. Row 4 is IIRL J, our championship leader, and Flew, our featured driver in his home Grand Prix. Lil Semp and Kements on row 5, rounding out the top 10. Dayman and Deaton lead the 6 drivers who have a free tyre choice. They've opted for mediums, the pair of them. Greg, as we said, the only driver on the hards. Tucker in the second McLaren, he's in 14th and opting for the mediums. Majestic and Tidiest Bear, the 2 Williams at the back of the field. Probably a sight that we've seen a lot recently, but hoping that it turns itself around for Williams very shortly. They are at the back of the field, 15th and 16th on the medium compound tyre. This race set up nicely. Can Chives convert his second pole in IIRL to his first race victory? Will Ghost Tomino in his 6th race. 2 pole positions to his name, but no race win so far. Can he take the race win? Well, we're about to find out. The lights are out, the race is underway, and it looks like someone's had a bad start in the midfield, dropping down a few places. I think Lil Semp has dropped a couple. Kements has had a good start. He's up to 8th. Chives, good start from him. He leads out of the first corner. Wiggles and Prev going side by side in turn 2. There's a spinner. I think that is Ryan. Maybe some contact there in turn 1 and turn 2, but he has spun and he is round and he is at the back of the field now. Majestic, nice start from him. He's ahead of Tucker, although Tucker fighting back now for P13. Chives, nice start from him. Everyone seems to have got away pretty nicely. No foul play involved at all. Perhaps with Ryan, but we don't know what's happened there. But he is fighting to get back up the fields. We definitely know Ryan's got the pace. And this is good news for Ross as he looks to extend his championship lead. But there's 27 laps still remaining of this race. Anything can still happen. Padge with the first time penalty of the evening, and it comes on the very first lap. That shows you just how difficult it is to keep that car within those white lines. Padge and Tucker having a fight for 15th, swapping places, perhaps little mistakes creeping in. First lap, of course, means that you're going to have... Oh, and Flu's into the pits. I wonder what Flu's going to do. We'll join back with the action in a few moments' time, but we're going to see what's happening with Flu. I wonder if he's got some damage, or maybe he's just changing to a better tyre. Also another... No, it's a front wing change for Flu, so Flu, not a good lap one for him. Tucker and Padge also into the pit, so... Yep, Tucker front wing change for him. And also for Padge, so 3 drivers on lap 1, all with damage. For those 3, they'll be hoping for a safety car of some sort. Preferably for them a full safety car. Mr. Wiggles controlling a slide there through turn 7. Very close between the top 6. Kement's up to 7th place. Nice start from him. Deaton's up to 10th and in the points. Again, good start from him. He started in 12th place, remember. Tidius Bear, again, capitalising on 3 drivers ahead of him going into the pits. He's up in 11th, Greg 12th, Ryan along with Greg right behind Tidius Bear, challenging for 11th place right now. He's top 6, all separated by no time at all. Look how close they are. Kement's trying desperately to get within a second of Ross, because at the start of lap 3 DRS is now enabled, which means down that back straight potentially Chives could get overtaken by 5 different cars who all have DRS behind him. Mr. Wiggles looking very eager to get past that Aston Martin ahead of him. But that guy, of course, has an opportunity to try and get Ghost if he can shake off that Haas car from behind. So can Ghost get close enough to that guy? You can see the rear wings open, that's called DRS. Open the rear wing, it gives you more straight line speed and gives you an opportunity at an overtake. But you can only use it when you're within 1 second of the car in front in the DRS zones. Goes beautiful exit, using overtake, that's what the green on the steering wheel means. And we have a new race leader. Goes Tamino using ERS to perfection there. But of course, in the DRS zones, he might find himself vulnerable to an attack from behind. Wiggles has lost it and is falling down the field. He's behind his teammate now in 8th. I wonder if that was contact there, but with someone. I know he was close to that guy. I'll have to wait and see what happened with that. It's now a top 5. We've got Kement's behind, followed by Lil Semp, who has the DRS. Talking of DRS, there goes Chives back into the lead of this race, using DRS perfectly there. This could go on for a good few laps, guys, so strap yourselves in. Kement's losing out to Lil Semp. DRS on the main straight is very powerful. Chives has a half-second lead down this back straight. That may provide a good amount of distance to avoid getting overtaken here. Ross not close enough to Prev. Both of these drivers have the rear wing open, which gives them good straight line speed, which means it's going to be very difficult for Ross to overtake Prev while both of them have DRS activated. And this is what a lot of people call a DRS train, where really the only person who is vulnerable at possibly being overtaken is the race leader. who doesn't have the effect of DRS. Beautiful exit there for Ghost. Remember, Prev is on the soft compound tyres, so he's going to pit a few laps earlier than you might expect. Those top 4 of the top 5 on the mediums can run probably, I'd say, 11 or 12 possibly laps into this race. Ghost had the DRS, but not close enough to attack. Maybe he didn't want to get past. Maybe he's being strategic in the way that he uses his DRS. Dilsem still holding on to 6th. Kemmets and now Wiggles, who has caught back up after that earlier incident. And now on the tail of the leading Haas car for 6th place as it stands. Yellow flag in sector 1. You can see how close that top 5 are. But again, that DRS not using it. Excuse me, I'm just hiccuping here. Not using it to get some moves, so maybe it's not as powerful as we thought. Maybe Chives is driving out of his skin. Maybe Ghost is being a bit more passive. We're not quite sure. Wiggles is up into 6th. Kemmets and Lil Sent behind. Ryan, nice recovery from him. He's up into 9th place right now. But we'll be hoping that he can gain a few places and try and close that gap to Ross in the championship. Deton still in the points. 10th place for him. Tidy Spare 11th. Greg in 12th. I think this is Greg's first race in no assist. So Greg's doing pretty well there to stay within contention of Tidy Bear on those hard tyres, remember. They are a slower tyre, but they do go longer into the race. Dayman in 13th has Flew for company in 14th, just behind him. Majestic in 15th, Tucker in 16th. And a yellow flag out for Tucker in sector 3. So Tucker struggling a little bit tonight, it would seem. These top 5, all still nothing to separate them. This is exactly the definition of a DRS train. None of these 5 can really overtake the car in front because they all have DRS. But it is nice to watch. These 5 are like a leading pack in the Tour de France, charging away from the rest of the field who just don't have the legs to catch up right now. Mr. Wiggles has his teammate that was sent behind in 7th and Kemmets in 8th. But the more that those 3 fight, the less opportunities they have to try and catch up to these top 5. Oh, and Ross has lost it! And Ross is out of the race! We did not expect that. Our championship leader is out on lap 6 and has brought out a safety car. This is going to be perfect news for Prev, although I'm not sure he had the chance to pit. But this is a good opportunity now for Prev to get those soft tyres off the car because they are going to be very, very worn right now. But my goodness, Ross is human. We were not expecting that. And you just saw it. We had the camera pointed perfectly at his car when he just lost it. A bit of a wiggle, tried to correct it, sent him into a bit more of a wiggle. And in the end, out of the race. That is a massive, massive shock. Oh, and Tucker's out as well. He's, I think Tucker's retired in the pit. So both McLarens biting the dust on lap 6. Of course, this safety car is perfect for the likes of Flew, Dayman, Pajestic, or Pajestic then, for Pajestic, who all pitted after the first lap. Waiting to see if Prev will pit. I'm probably expecting Prev to pit, because it's probably worth him losing a few places on track rather than losing 20 seconds in the pits after the safety car comes in, which will be in maybe a lap or two once everyone's caught up to the back of the field. But that is a massive shock. Did say earlier on that Ross 53 races, only 6 DNFs. Well, it's a pretty good ratio if you ask me. But make that 7 DNFs here tonight. Unforced error. That has brought this safety car out. Indeed, Prev comes into the pits. In fact, Prev's teammate, that guy, also coming into the pits, Mr. Wiggles following suit, and that means that the Aston Martin team are going to be double stacking. Prev is going to lose an extra few seconds here. We'll go on board with him just so you can see it. Prev can't be served in the pits until his teammate has first. So Prev has lost a bit more time than his teammate. Here comes Flew around the final corner. He'll go up into 11th. In fact, make that 10th, or 9th, sorry. He jumps all 3 of those who have just pitted. What about Dayman? He's coming around the main straight, but can't quite overtake Prev into 12th. So then, the top 5 are all yet to pit, which means they have to make a pit stop in this race. Chives leads, Ghost is second. Those two are as they were, with a couple of overtakes here and there in the first few laps. Lil Semp up to 3rd, nice stint from him. Ryan is up to 4th, and this safety car is good news for him. A little bit of a spin earlier on the first lap. He's fighting to get some good points now that the championship leader Ross is out. Greg, hard tyres for him, so there's no point in him pitting. May as well stay out as long as he can on those hard compound tyres. Clements has pitted, Deton has pitted, Tidy's Bear has pitted, Flew has pitted. In the following lap, the 3 we just saw went in, that guy Wiggles and Prev. But they were behind the safety car for a big chunk of time. So they come out behind the 4 that have already pitted between Clements and Flew. Bit of a reset now. Safety car will duck into the pits very shortly, as it's a very early pit entry. Drivers warming their tyres. Chives will make the move. Will he go out of the final corner? Yes, he will. Of course, no DRS until lap 3 after the safety car restarts. So we restart this race on lap 9 of 27. We're still only 1/3 of the race through. Still plenty of laps left. Still plenty of action, wheel-to-wheel racing. Padge, another penalty. Struggling tonight with the track limits, but it is one of his worst tracks in his own admission. Greg, you can just see drifting off of the racing line slightly. That is the effect of the hard compound tyres and the 6-lap difference. That's the effect you're seeing now. Clements around the outside of 7. Greg gives him the space. Deton charging through on the soft tyres like an absolute madman. Those 2 Red Bulls now fighting side by side. Clements and Deton, last of the late breakers. Clements takes the outside line. Doesn't give Deton a massive amount of space, but it was reasonably fair. Clements running off the track. Deton now charging around the outside like a raging bull, like on the side of his car. Deton now up into 5th place, but does have the soft tyres on his car. And now an opportunity for those 2 Red Bulls to try and close that gap to the top 4, who have already built a 2-second gap on Deton. Nice respect there from 2 teammates. Chive still leads this race by Ghost. Lil Semp is staying within contention here. Good pace from the Haas car. Ryan also staying within contention of the top 3. Make that now a top 4. There comes Deton, Clements, Greg, Flew, that guy, Wiggles, Prev. Tidy as Bear, Dayman, Padge, all in one big line, as you can see in the background. Lap 10 of 27. Greg struggling. Hard tyres are worn. Here comes that guy. I wonder if he's going to go for a move. Oh, and I think that might be a bit of front wing off. Just running into the back of Greg. And yes, he has missed. He has got a bit of front wing damage. That will not help him in his cornering. And he will probably have to pit on this lap. Here comes Mr. Wiggles now, side by side with Tidy as Bear. Braking later, gets the move done. Oh, what a spin for that guy. Just had a snap of throttle, you can just hear it. And the car didn't like that, it would seem. That guy down to 14th and will have to pit for damage, as there is a new race leader. Just noticing Ghost and Chives going side by side now. The action is not stopping. Here comes Chives trying to get back around the outside in sector 3. This could be dangerous. Oh, super close there to contact. Lil Semp looking to go up the inside. Chives doesn't give him much room. It would seem a bit of a lock up there from Lil Semp, I think. Ghost has taken the lead, and it's lap 11 of 27, which means DRS is now activated, or enabled, sorry. It will be activated when you're within a second of the car in front. Ghost now is looking to fly. We can't see Ghosts anyway. Ghost will be hoping that Chives won't be able to see him in a few moments' time. Bit of an unforced error there from Chives, losing a few tenths. Remember, those tyres are 10 laps old. He didn't lose too much time. He's still got the rear wing open. But perhaps an opportunity scorned there for Chives to regain the lead of this race. He is pushing hard to try and maintain that 1 second gap to our race leader. Lil Semp holding his own in third, still within DRS range of Chives. Ryan in fourth. Might come under a bit of pressure from Deton, who is pushing on those soft compound tyres to try and close that gap to the top 4. Kemments just behind his teammate in 6th. Flew, nice recovery from him after that first lap pit stop. He's in 7th. Mr. Wiggles with a time penalty. He's down in 9th behind Prev, and has Greg behind him for company, who is struggling on those hard compound tyres. Chives in the fastest lap of the race, even with that unforced error earlier in the lap. Chives, 3-second time penalty. Could be crucial in who is going to win this race. Still 15 laps left, and another potential warning there for Chives, cutting over the inside of turn 4. I have to say, this race is everything we thought it was going to be. Ryan has dropped out behind a second now. Deton perhaps starting to struggle on those softs. Kemments he saw going down the inside in turn 5. Chives fighting back and retaking the lead of this race. Lil Semp is not too far behind as well. These three have got a bit of a gap now behind on Ryan. Doing well. Deton struggling, it would seem, overtaken by not only his teammate but now Flew. Flew looking down the inside of Kemments, looking to nab a place when no one was looking. Great racing here tonight. Kemments went up the DRS. He's too far behind Ryan. So this could be an opportunity now for Flew. Flew not using his electrical energy, his ERS system, saving it for a better opportunity perhaps. Wiggles just running wide there at turn 2. Might have got another warning for that. Lap 13 of 27. Still not even at half race distance. And we've seen enough wheel-to-wheel action to take us through 3 or 4 Monaco Grand Prix. That guy who fastest lap of the race had to pit for wing damage. Put a set of soft tyres on in the process. Wiggles and Deaton now going side by side. Deaton quite aggressive. Wiggles hanging it around the outside of turn 7. Getting past Deaton. Deaton looking down the inside of Mr. Wiggles, trying to retake 7th place. But to no avail. Wiggles keeps hold of that 7th place. Taking a wide line there through turn 10. Puff of tyre smoke from Deaton. Prev might sniff an opportunity here. Top 3 are as they were. Chives leads but has a 3-second time penalty. Now Ghost Tamino has a 3-second time penalty at exactly the same corner that Chives got his. Lil Semp now could possibly be in with a shot of winning this Grand Prix. He sits in 3rd place and has a nice healthy gap of 1.4 seconds behind to Ryan. Deaton is dropping off, those soft tyres getting very worn now. Mr. Wiggles pulling a 2nd in that 1st sector. Doesn't have the DRS. Prev using DRS to his advantage up into 8th. And these two are very close. Identical tyre, pit stop tyre lap. Both pitted 7 or 8 laps ago. Kemmets is on the hard tyres, which won't be as quick right now, but will last longer in the race. I wonder if Kemmets perhaps can make it to the end. That is the big question. If he can, he could be in with a great shout of winning this Grand Prix. Flew, meanwhile, if he can make those mediums last to the end, I think we'll give him the Gold Star Award. That'd be a great achievement for Flew, who is attacking Ryan now. Flew is flying. Because Ryan isn't dropping off from Lil Semp. Flew is gaining ground on everyone else. Chives leads by 9/10 of a second now. And Ghost has also got a 9/10 gap on Lil Semp. Those top 3 starting to spread out a bit more. Ryan's still not within striking distance. But 2 people who are. Flew and Kemmets will have the rear wing open down this back straight. Mr. Wiggles and Prev are also on the back of this train for 4th. And Ryan is desperate to hold on to as many points as he can. Remember, Ross, our championship leader, crashed on lap 6, brought out a safety car, which means that Ryan could take the championship lead if he wins this race tonight. If he doesn't win, he won't take the championship leads. But he can reduce that gap significantly at the top. Lava Winch, hello mate, how you doing? Hope you're well. Says come on Flew. I have to say, Flew is driving very well right now. Had to pit on lap 1, had some damage as you see him go side by side with Ryan, but Mr. and Ryan on the same stretch. Kemmets. Excuse me? I don't know if you can see this. Excuse me? Have I just lagged out, or is the race just finished? Right, I'll tell you what. Let's assume the race is going on, and I'll just get back into the session. But I have lagged out. That was weird. Right, we'll try and get back in. Apologies about that. Doesn't normally happen. Fingers crossed all hell hasn't broken loose on track. Right, here we go then. Back in, Chives leads from Ghost. Mr. Wiggles is in third and is now ahead of Lil Semp, his teammate. So I think Lil Semp has had a moment there, and also Mr. Wiggles has now gone past Flu in the time that we lagged out. Flu is in fifth, Kemmins is in sixth, right behind. Prev is also right behind in seventh. Tidy's Bear is in eighth, leading his teammate Majestic by a couple of seconds. Dayman is in the points in 10th, Greg 11th, Ryan 12th. Let's get the tyre stops up. And Ryan has just pitted actually for soft tyres. Deton has also pitted, and a bit of a slide there from him. He's in 13th, that guy at the back of the field in 14th. But Chives and Ghost still lead this race. Both of them have a 3-second time penalty. Mr. Wiggles again, just getting over the curb there. Might have got a warning for that. Lil Semp and Flu having a nice little battle here for P4. Kemmins and Prev waiting in the wings. Lil Semp into the pits. 5-second penalty for Lil Semp. Everyone is getting penalties apart from Flu, Kemmins and Prev. Could they be the three to be on the podium? Here comes Kemmins down the inside of Prev. These two fighting desperately for P5, and that is allowing Flu to fly away. Chives leads by less than a second. I don't think that gap between Chives and Ghost has ever been more than a second, as Kemmins there. Hard tyres proving to be quite tricky on this track. Bit of a slide, but remains within a second of Prev. Mr. Wiggles trying desperately with his fresher tyres to gain on those top three. On this top two, sorry, who must pit. Remember, Chives, Ghost and Greg all must pit in this race. If Flu can get to the end on that set of medium compound tyres, it could be curtains in terms of the race win. Mr. Wiggles has, I think, 6 seconds of time penalties. Yes, he does. So that could be absolutely critical in 10 laps time when the race is over. But for now, Chives and Ghost lead the way. Mr. Wiggles has got that gap down between him and the top two to 0.8 of a second. The man to watch right now is Mr. Wiggles. He is on an absolute rampage and he is challenging for this race win if his life depends on it. Great showing here from Mr. Wiggles. These top two, of course, must pit, as we say, so they are going to lose around 20 seconds. But bonus for them is that they can go to the end on a set of softs. Question is, are there enough laps in this race for them to gain the time they lost on Wiggles in the pits? Flu's job is to stay within 6 seconds of Mr. Wiggles. If they're on identical strategies, that is going to help. And the clouds are going very grey right now. So is there an impending threat of rain? Mr. Wiggles pushing super hard now. He is forcing Ghost to go faster. He's forcing Chives to go faster. One of these three could make a huge mistake, as we saw earlier in the race when Ross retired. Mr. Wiggles, 7-lap fresher tyres. Round the outside of the final corner, Ghost gives him space, and unfortunately for Ghost, he has lost his second place, which he has held for probably 17 of these first 20 laps. Mr. Wiggles now is on a move. Expect to see Chives and Ghost come into the pits imminently. With just 7 or 8 laps remaining of this race, those soft tyres look pretty good right now. As for Wiggles, he's going to inherit the leads. Well, I was going to say he's inherited it. He's stolen it now. He's stolen it in a coup. Ghost, meanwhile, is dropping off. Maybe it is pit time for Chives and Ghost. Mr. Wiggles leads. Is Chives going to go for a move to retake the lead, or is he going to dip into the pits on lap 20 of 27? Remember, Greg still needs to pit as well. He's in P12. I guess they're just hoping for a late safety car to come out and bunch the field up so they don't lose too much time. Chives stays out, as does Ghost. Maybe there's a threat of rain in this race that we're not aware of. Look at those clouds. It is looking pretty grim out there. Ryan, 3-second time penalty. Flew is gaining on Ghost. It was 2.5 seconds, it's now 1.7. Although Flew is under big pressure now from Clements and Prev. All 3 of these drivers don't have any time penalties. That is going to aid them the more this race goes on. Talking of time penalties, lots of drivers picking up time penalties. 11 of the 14 runners. And rain has just hit the screen, I think. Yes, it is. It is raining. We did not know it was going to be raining, and it has started to rain. This is crucial. Clements off the track. Tidiest, Prev, sorry, overtaking Flew, who is struggling. But this is absolutely a game changer. The rain has come out at a time where Chives and Ghost have been leading this race for 21 laps. Mr. Wiggles now leads and has fresher tyres. He can pull a gap, and if the rain gets worse, Mr. Wiggles can pit for intermediate tyres and possibly stay out ahead in the lead of this race. Ghost now into the pits. Is he going to be the first to box onto Inters? This is the question. The question is, how hard is the rain? On go a set of soft compound tyres. Interesting. What about Majestic and Dayman? They're in the pits. What are they going on to? Greg into the pits for the first time this race. That is Inters in the garage for Dayman. It's also Inters for Greg and Majestic. So I wonder here if Ghost has accidentally clicked the wrong way on his MFD and accidentally put on the soft compound tyres. Ghost's chance at a race win here could be under threat. The rain is really falling here. We'll keep an eye on Majestic's delta to that guy. The gap is currently 5.7 seconds. If that gap starts reducing, then the intermediate tyres are the tyre to be on. Mr. Wiggles leads by 1.1 seconds. Chives hasn't pitted. He has done qualifying 2 laps and 22 laps in the race on that one set of tyres. Someone give him the tyre management medal. But he does have a time penalty. DRS is now disabled in the race, which means it is time for intermediates. Clements speeds into the pit lane and gets 5-second penalty. Majestic isn't really catching up right now. So maybe it was 1 lap too early for everyone to go on the Inters. Maybe everyone who is pitting right now has made the right call